Meet Ludwig, a patriot who loves his country and trusts German engineering. He stands in Berlin in a modern showroom on Friedrichstrasse, eyeing a beautiful, shiny Volkswagen ID.4. Then he sees the price, over 45,000 euro. He flinches. His patriotism is fighting a losing battle against his bank account. Just a few feet away, displayed in the corner, is the Stranger, a BYD Atto 3, made in China. At first glance, it seems awkward, lacking heritage. It feels foreign. But then Ludwig sees the number, around 35,000 euro, a significant saving, similar range, similar battery. Suddenly, the awkward car looks pragmatic. Suddenly, Ludwig doesn't care about geopolitics. He just wants a car that doesn't bankrupt him. He reaches for the door handle, but before he can touch it, a giant metal gate slams down. Tariffs, trade bans, national security. Ludwig is confused, but the government knows. Efficiency is winning, and that is upending the old order, so they are suspending the market. They call it protectionism. But 60 years ago, a man named Sukarno called it something else, Berdikari. Welcome to the deglobalization trap. For decades, the global economy worshipped one god. Its name was efficiency. Its Bible was the TPS, the Toyota Production System. The rule was simple, just in time. Don't store parts, don't build factories if you don't have to. Buy the cheapest part from the cheapest country at the exact moment you need it. It was beautiful. It made iPhones affordable and TVs cheap. But then the world broke. A pandemic, trade wars, a real war in Ukraine. Suddenly, just in time became just too late. The West realized a terrifying truth. Efficiency is a strategic weakness. If your competitor makes your batteries, they hold your future. So the religion changed. The new liturgy is just in case. Build your own factory, hoard your own chips, secure the supply chain no matter the cost. This is why Ludwig has to pay 45,000 euro for his car. He is paying the security tax, the same premium for self-sufficiency that once left consumers in Jakarta paying more for poorly made soap. The West calls this de-risking. It sounds smart, but if you want to see how this movie ends, you don't look at Tesla in 2026, you look at a soap factory in Jakarta in 1964. Travel back to 1964. Indonesia was a teenager. Young, proud, and angry. Politically, they were free, but economically, they felt shackled. The Dutch and the British still owned the banks, the plantations, and the factories. President Sukarno had a vision. He gave it a name that sounded like poetry, Berdikari. Berdiri di atas kaki sendiri, standing on your own feet. It wasn't just a slogan, it was a declaration of war against the global supply chain. Sound familiar? Make America great again, strategic autonomy. Different languages, same dream. We don't need the world, we can do it ourselves. And the biggest target was Unilever, the British-Dutch giant that controlled everything, from your toothpaste to your cooking oil. In the name of Berdikari, Indonesia kicked them out. They seized the factories. They sent the foreign managers home. The message was clear. We have the rubber. We have the palm oil. We have the labor. Why do we need you to make our soap? It was the ultimate flex. Indonesia declared, we will build our own industry. It was a beautiful dream, but as the West is about to find out, waking up from that dream is expensive. The morning after the takeover, reality set in. The foreign managers were gone. The engineers were on boats headed home. What remained was a zombie factory. The body was there, the materials, walls, and machines, but the soul had vanished. Indonesia learned a brutal lesson. Owning the factory is not the same as knowing how to run it. A supply chain is a language, and suddenly, the nation had to invent a new one from scratch. R&D? Gone. Chemical compositions? Guesswork. The result? They made soap. They called it Sabun Kodok. It was rough. It stripped your skin. But here is the economic law that no amount of patriotism can repeal. When you kill global efficiency, you pay the Autonomy Tax. Prices skyrocketed. Hyperinflation began to devour the currency. They had the rubber. They had the oil. They were lucky compared to Europe today. But even with all the resources in the world, they could not beat the efficiency of a global machine. Let's go deeper into the nightmare. When the supply chain is cut, the clock starts ticking. Machines break. That is physics. But in 1965 Jakarta, ordering a spare part from London was impossible. That was enemy goods. So the factory started cannibalism. To keep Machine A running, they dismantled Machine B. They stripped parts from their own infrastructure just to survive another week. The factory wasn't producing, it was eating itself alive. And who pays for this inefficiency? The currency. To hide the failure, the government printed money. "We are independent," they shouted, while printing rupiah notes that were worth less than the paper they were printed on. 600% inflation. People brought wheelbarrows of cash just to buy one block of rough soap. Now, look at the West today. Billions in subsidies for domestic chips, billions for homegrown batteries. Where does that money come from? It's printed. They are subsidizing inefficiency. They are starting to eat their own economy. The Indonesian mechanic in 1965 learned a hard lesson. Nationalism is a powerful drug, but you can't eat it. The West is currently high on that same drug, and the withdrawal symptoms are going to be painful. So, how did Indonesia's story end? We blinked. The bleeding became too severe. In 1967, Indonesia reopened the doors. We invited the giants back. Unilever returned. Toyota came in. We swallowed our pride to save our stomach. We chose efficiency over autonomy. But today, the West faces a much scarier enemy. When Indonesia fought the West was just companies. But today, the West is fighting China. China isn't just a factory, it is a fortress. They don't just assemble the car, they own the mine. They refine the lithium, they make the glass, they print the body. Full stack integration. You cannot sanction a country that makes its own screws, chips, and screens. The West thinks they can decouple. It's like trying to remove the flour from a baked cake. You can't do it without destroying the cake. There is a glimmer of hope. Thank God we are facing China. For thousands of years, we have known them as traitors. They are pragmatic. When Trump slapped them with tariffs, they didn't fire missiles. They moved factories to Mexico. They prefer to win with a calculator, not a gun. But let's not be naive. Don't ask the Vietnamese about peaceful traders. Don't ask the ancient Javanese kings of Singasari about friendly diplomats. They defied the Mongol Khan and faced an armada of 1,000 warships. And never forget the lesson of the Banda Islands. When the people refused a Dutch spice monopoly, the merchant Jan Pieterszoon Koen didn't send a negotiator, he sent guns and soldiers. His motto was, "Despair not, spare your enemies not." The result was genocide. To this day, his name lives in infamy, twisted into a Javanese curse.
Jancok.
The ultimate verdict on a butcher. They all know the truth. When the trade routes are blocked, the dragon doesn't starve. It remembers. It burns. We are currently forcing the world's factory to close its doors. We are telling the merchant to pick up the sword. We are repeating the mistake of the Sabun Kodok, thinking we can survive alone in a connected world. Maybe the West will succeed where Indonesia failed. Maybe it can rebuild the factory before the war starts. But history, from the hot-headed rage of King George's gunboats to the calculated slaughter of Kun, whispers a warning. When goods don't cross borders, soldiers will. We are in the dangerous part of the curve. Bersiapla. I'm Lalamulu. See you in the next catch.